Alright guys, Cathalax here, time for another Pokemon Narrated Wi-Fi battle. Time for my second narration of this one too, because the first one was crap and I was using sound recorder and it has lots of static, so I decided to do another one, because getting shitty content out there is not what I'm all about. So this is a UU battle against Pokemon Battlemaster, so Battlemaster777 I think. He uploads a plethora of videos including Call of Duty and Pokemon. So I met him on TPX chat and we decided to have a UU battle. So I lead with my Leaf, which is my Suicide Focus Sash Azelf, Stealth Rocks and you know, 3 attacks. Just to kill leads mainly and get Stealth Rocks up. So he leads with his Rotom. I predict the Volt Switch because they usually go for that, and I didn't think he'd trick me first turn, especially with Azelf that can carry Focus Sash, which is pretty pointless to have on a Rotom. So I just go for the Stealth Rocks while he switches out to Regice. And I haven't faced many Regices, few in NU back in Gen 4, and most of them were specs actually, so not really sure what this one was going to be. So I go for the Fire Blast for super effective damage and all that. This thing does have max special attack, but it is timid nature and doesn't have a life orb or anything, so I didn't think that would do that much. But it does a decent amount, and so Azelf goes down to an Ice Beam, done its job though, Stealth Rocks are up, something's taking some damage, nothing too bad going on there. And yeah, so I switch now into my Thor, which is my Hellboy, which is probably the coolest nickname I have. And he switches out, knowing that I will completely rape his face. And he goes to Donphan, and I predict the switch, and I don't know what he's going to switch to, so I figure I will go for a Bulk Up. And I do. And this is an awesome poke, and no one uses it, because I don't know. I just know that it's cool, and it gives Circle Throw, which is a great attack. It's like 70 base power, and it does 90 accuracy, so it can miss, but it doesn't, you know, if you're a cool guy and you treat your Pokemon right, it doesn't miss ever. And it's basically Dragon Tail, but it's stab and awesome. So I go for a +1 Circle Throw on a Donphan, and it does a hefty chunk. And most Donphans run max HP, max attack, or max HP, max defense, so I thought that was a really good amount for the poke that it was. I drag him out into Rotom, which takes a shit ton of damage from Stealth Rocks, and isn't going to appreciate a Circle Throw either, but he tricks me a Choice Scarf. I didn't see that coming, but it's not a huge deal because I wasn't really planning on switching this guy out anyway, because he's kind of it's one of those pokes that once you kind of get in there, unless they've got a Ghost, I'm not really going to switch him out. Like if he had a Ghost and tricked me a Choice Scarf, that really would have screwed me because I'd be stuck on a fighting move and couldn't really do anything, and he'd get a free move to set up on. But he doesn't, so I Circle Throw him out, and he'll die to Stealth Rocks when he comes back in, and he gets thrown out to Bisharp, which is an awful poke to get against a Thor, because I pretty much rape his face because he's 4 times weak to fighting, and I have max HP and a lot of physical bulk to this guy. So I Circle Throw him. I kind of hoped that it wouldn't kill, but leave him on really, really low HP, because that way I'd get switch advantage. But it kills them anyway, which I kind of expected because it's a +1 Circle Throw, and you aren't going to live one of those when you're 4 times weak to fighting. And so he gets some switch advantage on me and goes into his Donphan, and I am Scarfed, and so I'm just going to go for a Circle Throw again, and he knows this, so I thought he would Stealth Rock here because of the fact that you might as well get Stealth Rocks up while you can. But he doesn't, or at least Rapid Spin, because that way he wouldn't have taken any damage. Like if he got thrown into Rotom or something, he wouldn't have taken any damage. But he goes for the Earthquake, which has a ground gem, which is a really interesting set to use. It does a heap of damage to a fairly physically bulky +1 Thor, which I was surprised about. And he gets thrown into Blastoise, which not really sure what set that's going to be, because Blastoise can pretty much be anything. Like I have mixed attack of Blastoise, especially defensive Blastoise, and physically defensive Blastoise, and rapid spinning Blastoise, so you can pretty much be any kind of Blastoise. But he goes for the Scold, and I don't get an attack off on him, which reveals nothing at all about the poke, so that's not great. The only thing I know is that he's got leftovers. So yeah, my Thor goes down, good old Hellboy, but he did his job, I reckon, somehow, like he's supposed to. And so I go into my Shaman, which is the obvious play because grass beats water apparently. And yeah, so I'm just going to go for the Leech Seed here because I figure he'd switch out. But he goes for the Protect, which is a fairly good play. You know, if you've got Protect, it's always good to scout out what they're going to do first. That way you can switch into the appropriate counter. And yeah, so he protects, I Leech Seed, and I'm probably going to I think I'm going to Leech Seed again this turn, thinking, well, he'll definitely switch out now because, you know, he's putting me into Shaman or something. And yeah, so I Leech Seed, and he does a really good play here, which is he Rapid Spins, which spins away both my Leech Seed and my Stealth Rocks, and I wasn't really looking at my DS when this happened, so I'm like, wait, why didn't I get any left Leech Seed recovery, and why is he at max health? But that's why, because I'm an idiot, and he rapid spin. So he's going to switch out now because he knows I'm not going to let it a third time. And he goes to his Shaman on my predicted Seed Flare, because all Shaman run Seed Flare, because it's an awesome move, even though it misses whenever you want it to, just like it does here. Doesn't really matter too much because, you know, a Shaman's going to take Jackal from a Seed Flare anyway. So he goes for an Air Slash, and I just need to look up where the Shaman actually gets Air Slash, because I know that Shaman Sky Form gets Air Slash, but I didn't think that Shaman Normal Form got it. But it does, and, you know, I look like an idiot. So I go for the Hidden Power, knowing that it's Ice or Fire. I think it's Ice. Yeah, it would be Fire if I was running an OU, because, you know, killing Ferrothorns is always handy, but I think it's Ice for things like Flygon and things I'll think of later. Staraptor, Crobat, even though I should never stay on in those two pokes anyway. And so I switch out here, thinking that knowing that I'm slower because I'm using some HP. EVs, and he's probably using max speed, so he goes for an Air Slash, and it won't do jack to Rolf, because Rolf is a boss and electric type. And if you don't get the reference, then you should watch more Farscape, because it's a great reference. And yeah, so he's scared of my Specs Manectric, because Specs Manectric is a boss and will kill that Shaman with basically any move it has. So stupidly I go for my Hidden Power, which is I think Ice. Yeah, it's more than likely Ice, because I'm pretty sure it's not something stupid that Regice doesn't resist. I mean, Regice resists like Grass, which would be kind of lame. So it does no damage to Regice because it's a special wall, and I look like an idiot because I should have just gone for a T-Bolt, because that would have killed the Shaman and would have done heaps of damage to this Regice. So I have to switch out now because I'm locked into Ice, or HP Ice or HP Grass, one of the two. And he predicts that quite nicely and goes for a Thunderbolt, which is you know, a cool prediction, because he could have just gone for the Stab Ice Beam, thinking I might switch out to Shaman, or basically any of my other pokes would take a lot of damage from Ice Beam. So he goes for the T-Bolt, hits my Zoomer really hard, but I know that I have Aqua Jet, and he's specially defensive, so I think that might do a lot of damage. So I just go for the Aqua Jet here, and he goes, no wait, sorry, I go for the Superpower here, idiot, jeez. Knowing that it would kill the Regice, not do a lot of damage to it. And he knows that, switches out to his physical defensive Blastoise, which takes it fairly well. Like, it doesn't look like it takes it well, but, you know, it drops your attack, so if he could take 2, and he could probably, I don't know, rest or something. I think that's what his set would be, or even with leftovers, he might be able to take 3 after the double attack drop. So I have to switch out here, because staying in against the Stally Blastoise would suck, and getting my Azumarill Toxic would suck as well, because Azumarills are always good when they're not statused. Even, well, not really bad when they're paralyzed, because they're really slow anyway. So I go into my Mew, and he Toxics. Didn't really predict the Toxic or anything, but it worked out really well for me, because this way he gets Toxic as well, because it's synchronized, which is cool. And this is my ridiculously awesome unique Mew set, which is max HP, max attack, because Mew's great. And Mew is probably the one Pokemon that you can basically switch into anything, and they'll probably switch out, because Mew can run basically every set. Trick, special defensive, special attacker, physical attacker. Has a great move pool and can do basically anything you want it to. So when you switch it into someone, they will generally switch out thinking, well, he's probably the counter to my set. But he doesn't, because he's really down on Pokemon, and he can't afford to just sacrifice something to a switch in like Regice or Shaman, because he really needs to keep his Pokemon alive. So he goes for the Protect, and I predict that because I know that he has Protect, and he was scouting my Shaman before, so I go for the Swords Dance. And yeah, so he's kind of wondering what kind of set I am now, maybe thinking I'm Baton Pass or something. I think Mew gets Baton Pass, I'm pretty sure, because, you know, Swords Dancing maybe to a Azumarill, so I can sweep his team with Aqua Jet. But no, I am a Drain Punching Awesome Sauce Mew set, which is basically it has wrecked teams, honestly. It just, if you get a Swords Dance up and you can be behind a sub, because it hits 101 subs, so it can live size S-Toss subs, and, you know, S-Tosses with its subs and all that jazz, and can often, because it's quite bulky naturally, because it gets 236 in all stats, it can live a lot of moves when it has a sub up. So it just wrecks face, and he dies to Toxic here, but I've taken a lot of damage, a lot more than I wanted to, because I thought I would kill it with this Drain Punch and maybe get some more HP back, but I didn't. So I'm left with 121, which isn't really enough to survive another Life Orb plus Toxic. So I'm going to have to sacrifice my Mew to the next turn. And I don't want to switch it out because it'll take Stealth Rocks and won't have +2, so it'll pretty basically be useless. So he switches into his Donphan, which is basically dead anyway, because is on very low HP, and Mew has Sucker Punch because it's a boss. And I kill it. It might have gone for the Ice Shard. I would assume that's what it did, or else I would have Drain Punch for the health, but I didn't want to die to Ice Shard just in case. So I went for the Sucker Punch, knowing that I'm faster because Donphans don't run speed. And neither do I, but Mew's base speed's pretty good. So I go to my Mana Trick Blind Switch because I have Volt Switch, which is always nice to have. I was kind of scared about using Mana Trick more because I didn't want to kind of get stuck on the Volt Switch to Donphan where it was resisted, and I'd be kind of giving him a free setup move to do whatever he wanted. So he's into his Rotom, and I switch out. I Volt Switch out, which gives me the chance to go back into my Shaman, I think, because it's basically Death Fodder at this point. And knowing that his Shaman is faster than my Shaman, he can switch into his safely and kill it off. So yeah, basically slow down now since I'm a bit ahead of the video, but you know, it's cool. So he goes for the Earth Power, probably because it's the only move he has that's 100 accuracy, because Air Slash and Seed Flare both aren't, and I don't know what his last move is. It's probably maybe Hidden Power or something. Could be Leech Seed, never know. But so yeah, he's low on health. My Azumarill can kill it with basically anything. It could pretty much just you know, scream at it and it'd die. So yeah, I kill it off with an Arc Jet, and he's left with Regice, I think, is his last, and I have both Azumarill and Manectric. I'm low on HP, so Azumarill can only switch in once because of its relatively low HP, and Manectric is pretty much fine to switch in as many times as I need, because if I need to switch that many times, Azumarill will be dead anyway. So I go for the Aqua Jet thinking, well, I could probably kill this because it's physically weak, and an Aqua Jet is Choice Banded and all this and stabbed and jazz, but it doesn't kill, so he gets a rest off, and I figure from the rest he's a rest talking Regice because he doesn't get a Chesto Berry wake up, and kind of weird to be a Chesto Resto Regice, especially since I've seen its leftovers. But yeah, so he's full health, and I switch out to Manectric knowing that he has to rest talk, and if he gets a T-Bolt then I win the game, and if he gets rest then I'm going to get all the damage on him, and if he gets an Ice Beam then that sucks, but you know, you live with what you get. So he gets a rest on this Sleep Talk, which sucks for him, but you know, you use Sleep Talk, you've only got a 33% chance of getting the move you want. So I get a free move here, which is Overheat on my Spitz Manectric, which does a lot to a special defensive Regice, and if you go look up the base stats, Regice has probably one of the best special defensive base stats in the game so far. I think it's the same as Red Steel, which is, if you've ever faced, a complete bitch to kill, and I'm glad that no one's I've faced has used it so far on UU. But he gets a nice Sleep Talk here with an Ice Beam, which will kill off my Manectric. And yeah, so Rolf did his job, you know, he put some damage on this thing, killed off a Rotom, you know, general stuff. It's pretty good work for a Specs Manectric. Didn't do anything spectacular, didn't even get the Thunderbolt or anything, which kind of sucks, running a double electric stab on that guy, because that's what the pros do. Well, that's what I do at least, and I'm not really a pro, so that's that. And I switch back out to my Azumarill. I live with 34 from the Stealth Rocks, which is cool, and I took a while to make this move because I'm like, base speeds, better look them up, because you know, I don't want to use an Aqua Jet and not kill it when I didn't have to, because he's going to wake up this turn. But it turns out that I was running speed anyway if you look at my HP, which is below Azumarill's max, and I was going to outspeed him regardless. So that's basically the end of the game there, because my Azumarill kills him off with a superpower, and I win at 1-0 with 34 HP left in my Azumarill. It was a very good game. Thanks for the match, Battlepower777, and rate, comment, subscribe, guys. Enjoy.